Hello and welcome to The Fool's Journey. This is an introduction to the major and minor arcana of the tarot. I want to focus on the Fool rather than the hero because the hero's journey is the outcome. We begin as the Fool at 0. The Fool represents new beginnings. The Fool reminds us that every experience, no matter how uncertain, teaches us something about who we are. And as we journey into the language and understanding of symbols, I want to emphasize the importance and why we need to learn symbols and why it is important to apply these mythological archetypes into our daily lives, especially in this modern life. Many of these symbols are revered in ancient practices, and they are vital points of growth and discovering who we are. Symbols are points on a structure that provide a reflection of our inner self. And as we explore symbols, I want to emphasize the importance of applying symbols, understanding mythological archetypes, and applying them to our daily lives. Why marrying the two and bringing that rich history into our modern, mundane, day-to-day lives is truly nourishing for the soul. And not only that, but it actually helps us grow as a person, as a soulful, creative being, and as a North Star, as a guide into whatever it is that we face, whether it is in the home, in our relationships, in our career, even just making simple decisions. Every point is a transition, and these archetypes give us structure where maybe outside structures aren't quite providing the same level of depth and satisfaction that we're craving in where we're headed and what we're doing. And it shows up in many ways, and I'm sure many can relate, and why it is that we go seeking for these kinds of tools, why it is that we feel if we had these tools. From my own experience, and why I'm sharing this with you today, is that it allows you to feel held, supported, and guided when you don't know where to look. But aside from tarot and the nature of readings and what it can offer us in terms of future knowledge or unknown hidden mysteries that we can't quite see on the surface, beyond that, it is a reflection, like fractal facets of one diamond, which we are, and to see and understand each aspect and each stage of it allows us to not only gain more compassion and strength for ourselves, but to understand that everyone has such a unique and nuanced journey that they're going through as well. So my core intention of sharing this journey with you, of course, it is a tool where you can learn and apply it to use in a practical way. It is also so much deeper in our grand development as a human being, as a soul, and how it can help us grow and make wise decisions and learn what the journey is like maybe before we've even begun, and to also feel held, affirmed, and comforted in what we have already been through. Before we dive deeper into the cards, it's important to understand the Rider-Waite Tarot. It is a particular deck that has influenced how we interpret tarot symbols today. This deck was created by Arthur Edward Waite and Pamela Colman Smith in the early 1900s. This deck is rich, filled with symbolism and minor details that may go unnoticed the first time you've looked through or have received a reading. And so it's really fun to dive deep into this imagery and really honor the tradition that this deck has influenced all of tarot today in the 21st century. So I love working with this one, or even starting with this one as a foundation, because you'll find that most of the decks you work with are influenced directly by this deck. There are other foundational and influential decks as well, and there are decks that completely interpret the meaning of the cards on their own, and it's so fun to connect with different images and find the one that works for you. But in honor of tradition, it is wonderful to work with the Rider-Waite, and there are so many little symbols and important archetypes and mythologies that connect to the imagery, especially through the major arcana, which we'll be exploring in depth and going into stories and colors and details and all the little things that show up on each card. So I will keep this introduction brief and we will dive right into it in the next section.